we're here. This is our regular meeting of the Weyburn City Council held on Council Chambers at 5 p.m. Monday, June 10th. Councillor Richards and I back from Quebec City Conference, which was very interesting. Came and met with a lot of people from across Canada, and we also saw a lot of suppliers on different ideas for parks and recreation, and as well as other different city things that we have found across the country. So we were bringing forth ideas and bombarding our administration with all these type of ideas as such. So it was a very well, it was a very good meeting and conference. So, and we want to also, Councillor Darren Hill from Saskatoon is our representative for Saskatchewan, third vice president of the FCM. So he'll be traveling back and forth on that. We had also, so to start off the meeting here tonight, we want the approval of the minutes, the regular council meeting and strategic planning priorities meeting held May 27th, 2016. If I could have a motion, please.
I'll make that motion, Your Worship.
Second?
I'll second that, Your Worship.
All in favor? Carried unanimously. Additions to the agenda? Mr. Warren?
Yeah, Your Worship, none from administration for tonight.
Anything from council? Nothing from council. Moving forward, no public hearings, delegation, proclamations, and petitions. There are none at this point in time. We have a report from the fire department. Do we have, who is doing that report?
I can do that report, Your Worship. So it's a report from Fire Chief Simon Almond. It's for our fire activity report from April and May of 2019. So in total, for those 2 months, there's a total of 24 calls, 21 of which were within the city, 3 of which were within rural calls. Including the report is also information on education training, includes the weekly training for our volunteer firefighters and our career firefighters. It also talks about notifications of burnings within the RMs. So there's been 61 notifications right now for burnings within those areas. Also included is information on our new deputy fire chief. Many people are aware in the public that we've hired Dennis Poulin as a deputy fire chief, and his first day was on May 22nd of this year.
Questions, council? Mr. Poulin comes out of where?
He's out of Alberta.
Right, on there. Very good.
Thanks, Your Worship. The City Manager, if I could ask a question, and I know it's not in here, but is there any clarification we can give to the folks of Weyburn about fire bans, like in their backyards or anything like that?
Yeah, so right now, nothing's been put in place by Fire Chief Simon Allman. Jurisdictions only for within city limits, not with exterior of city limits. So right now, there is no fire ban in place. I have not heard any word of any plans for fire bans within the city limits, but if there is, we do public notification of that.
Great. Thank you.
And fire permits, all fire permits, they're lifetime fire permits, and they're required if you're going to have a backyard fire.
Yep, so we do backyard fire permits. There's an application form you can pick up here at City Hall. Like you said, it's a lifetime application, so it's within that home once you purchase that. Any questions, you can contact here at City Hall and find out more information.
Very good. That report shall be noted as received and shall be filed. Consent agenda, there's nothing on it. Motions. Accounts payable, do we have a motion, please?
Your Worship, I have a motion that the purchases from May 10th, 2019 to May 23rd, 2019 in the amount of $762,574.18 be passed for payment. The purchases include quick pays totaling $89,262.88, accounts payable totaling $554,166.34, electronic funds transferred totaling $22.16, direct withdrawals totaling $116,663.40, and debit card transactions totaling $2,459.40.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Questions from the floor? Seeing no questions, all in favor? Carried unanimously. There was accounts payable with pecuniary interest.
Your Worship, I'd like to make the motion that purchase date May 13th, 2019, where pecuniary interest has been disclosed, be passed for payment. The purchase includes accounts payable totaling $143.17.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
And that was the pecuniary interest was Mr. Chessel, I believe, right? Yes. And he is seeing that Mr. Chessel's not here due to family. Then we shall have a vote on it. All in favor? Carried unanimously. First Avenue Reservoir upgrades. Mr. Keshta?
First Avenue Reservoir and Pump Station is utilized for storage, distribution, and posting chlorine residual in treated water. The pump station was constructed in 1958 and has been used in conjunction with the water treatment plant to supply drinking water for the city resident. The First Avenue Reservoir has a capacity of 2 million liters, which contributes to the 20 million liters total reservoir capacity required to meet the fire demand. MBE Engineering have completed the engineered design work and design and drawing for the upgrades for pump station located on First Avenue Reservoir 2017. The upgrades includes distribution pumps, mechanical piping equipment, facility exterior and security. The budget allocated for this project is $1 million. Public tender opening for the project took place May the 15th, 2019. MB Engineering in Saskatchewan, a total of 3 proposals was received out of Contec General Contractor Limited, Westridge Construction Limited, and Clark's Supply and Service Limited. MBE Engineering has experience working with Contec General Contractor Limited and has indicated based on their experience that they recommend the contractor Contec General Contractors Limited to be awarded the work at a total cost of $1,245,799.92.
Do you have a motion, please?
Yes, I have you one, Your Worship. Thanks for the report, matter. I make a motion that the bid of Contact Tech General Contractors Limited to provide upgrades to the City of Weyburn First Avenue Reservoir in the amount of $1,245,799.92 be accepted.
Do you have a second?
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Discussion? Go ahead.
Thanks, Your Worship. To the Director of Engineering, thank you for your report. Very well laid out. I'm hoping, so you've, the allocated budget for this project, $1 million. So best case scenario, we're about $250,000 over budget with this, correct?
Yes and no.
Okay. Help me understand the no part of that.
The no part of this is a funded project. This is under National Regional Building Fund. The total contribution or the total project amount, and this is split between several projects, is $15,102,000. Split 1/3 federal, 1/3 provincial, and 1/3 city funding. So any overage will be 1/3. We will be contributing 1/3. This is first of all. Up to date, we claimed the $12,798,000 roughly. Amount remaining eligible for the fund is $3,103,000. So it's a pool of money that we are taking from. So for this project, like, you know, this fund is split between the water treatment plant reservoir expansion, which like the total cost for it is around $13 million right now. First Avenue Pump Station, which is design and construction. Between design and construction, design is $91,000. Construction, which is estimated to be $1.2 million, $1.25 million. Mergen Street water main replacement, which is $75,000 for the replacement for the water main, and the paving is expected to be $82,000, and the water treatment plant security fencing. Based on the agreement with the NRP, we are required to do water main replacement for 3rd Avenue as well, estimated value $200,000, maybe for next year budget. So actually we are still have a surplus of money, like, you know, under this fund, like, you know, $3 million. So we are not over budget theoretically. The balance at the end of the projects will be calculated, and it will be based on, like, you know, the total of all projects.
Okay. If I may continue. Thanks, Your Worship. Thank you for that. So that provides some clarity. So will we get, and maybe this is for the Director of Finance, I don't know, or maybe it's for you, will we get at some point in the year a bit of a summary of that account and what that all looks like? Because you gave me a lot of information right there, and it's all good information, I appreciate that. But will we be able to get some sort of a, you know, I don't want to say a line item budget on that, but I don't understand all of that you just put together for me in a short amount of time. Would we be able to get a report that's a little more comprehensive? I don't care who does it, frankly.
Yes.
Yes. Great, thank you. One last thing then, if I may, Your Worship, thank you. This particular piece of infrastructure is how old?
This is, was constructed in 1985. 1985.
Okay, so it's
1958.
1958, so it's well within, it's done well for us.
It is, yeah, like, you know, it's in a very rough shape right now. 1958, like, you know, because we didn't have enough capacity, water capacity, so there was no ongoing maintenance in this facility, except for last year, where we did a cleaning for the reservoir. Now, we will decommission it for the span of the project, so, and it is expected, once it is awarded, up till the end of this year.
Thank you.
I have one question, Your Worship, actually two. Old is good. Just had to get that in. That building that houses the pump now, Nader, that'll be gone when this project is completed?
The building will stay as is, however, like, you know, there will be new windows, new cladding, new everything. Like, you know, everything will be revamped except the structure for the building and the reservoir. The piping will go, the pump will be new, everything will be new.
Thank you.
And any other questions? I guess in all due respect to the past councils, this there was a study done, Mr. Richards, that was done back in what year, Mr. Keshted? Remember there was a study when you talked about it was about 2011, 2010. There was an original study done on this that they said you had to have everything done, and for whatever reason, this was put off onto it, and it is now, and it would have cost half the cost at that point in time. We're not going to put off the cost. That is my opinion. We're not putting off the cost again because it just escalates. It has to be done, and it's for the benefit of the city. So that is where we need to move forward with this one. Is my opinion here. So, any other further discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Lift station upgrades, number 3.
Lift station 3, located in west of intersection of Almer Street and First Avenue Northeast. It was initially installed in 1963 following inspection for the facility in 2013. The finding, like, you know, Stantec did a report and the finding for this report indicated a number of deficiencies, including occupational health and safety concern regarding fall protection, confined space entry, and contrary to the Water Security Agency design standard, the station lacks partitioning and separation, external access points for the wet and dry walls, further pump casing, valves, piping, and control panel breakers. The city budgeted for this year $200,000 for the design. Following next year, it will be the construction for lift station or the reconstruction for lift station number 3. A proposal was posted on Sask Tender and the city website. The request for proposal was prepared to allow the tenders to provide estimates for the project according to options presented. Project scope was defined in the request for proposal and task assigned in this request for proposal to split this request for proposal into 2 components. First component is a pre-feasibility study and design option, and the second component of this request for proposal was the design stage for the facility. We received a total of 9 responses on May the 9th, and based on the response and the criteria we have included in this report for project understanding, methodology, project personals, schedule, quality of proposal fees, the engineering Department is recommending that KGS Group Consulting Engineers be awarded the design work for lift station number 3. That's it.
Go ahead.
Your Worship, I've got a motion here to get this conversation started. Make a motion that the bid by the KGS Group Consulting Engineers for professional services to repair or replace the City of Weyburn's lift station number 3 at a price not to exceed $99,767.65 plus any applicable taxes be accepted as presented.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Questions? Go ahead.
Thanks, Your Worship. To the Director of Engineering, thanks again for the depth of the report. I feel like, for me, unfortunately, it wasn't deep enough, and I don't understand a lot of what is in here. What this is only for, this isn't for any work, it is only for the design, is that right? And also, if you could help me understand how all of the firms bid on option 1, less than half bid on option 2, and only 1 bid on option 3. So if you can help me understand all of that, that would be a good start. Thank you.
Okay. So this request for proposal, when it was published, it is split into 2 requests for proposal, internally included in 1 request for proposal. The first one is doing a feasibility study for options. Like, the consultant is required, the awarded consultant is required to go and do a feasibility study, pre-assessment for the building, population-wise, if we need to increase the capacity, and to suggest different alternatives for different designs. So, as an example, in this, we are assuming that there will be 4 designs or 3 designs. Out of those designs, there will be pros and cons and cost estimate associated with each option. So at the first stage of of the report that will be submitted by the consultant, he will submit the different alternatives, whether it will be option number 1 will be repairing the existing facility. Option 2 and 3 is replacement, but with different techniques. And based on this, he will calculate the estimated costs for each option, pros and cons, and the time frame for construction. He will sit with the city administration. We will go through the options, the cost estimate associated with it, and based on the cost and the pros and cons, we will suggest 1 alternative that we will go with. So it comes phase number 2, which will be the actual design, which will be geotechnical investigation, surveying, designing, and creating the tender document as well.
So that work isn't included in here?
No, it is included. Everything is included.
It is included in
here. And instead of creating 2 requests for proposal, 2 consequent requests for proposal, we put them in 1 request. This is for the sake of saving money and the process as well.
Thanks.
Second part of the question, what was this?
I guess the second part of my question was, only 1 firm gave a 3rd option.
Yes.
Are you comfortable with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Mickle? Nothing? Mr. Bitt?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a couple questions. What's the best guess you would have for the cost of this then to do the work? Do you have any, to make this lift station new? Any rough idea? I know it, but throwing you under the bus here.
No. So depending upon the option, this is first of all, this is my simple answer at that point. The report from Stantec in 2013 estimated an initial cost of $850,000 for repairing the existing facility.
Okay.
Due to the inflation for the pricing since 2013 up till now. So I'm assuming that the price, and I shouldn't say this in public, it should be within the range of, and I will put a bigger range, just it will be $1.2 million to $1.5 million
Depending
range.
on.
Depending upon the option.
In saying that then, Nader, how many lift stations do we have in Weyburn? 5? And are other ones in need of work also, or is this the only one?
Lift station number 1, which is the most recent, I think this was revamped in 2013, 2013 or
13,
11,
yeah.
somehow like
Yeah,
this
the big
era.
one by the museum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lift station number 5 is new. I think there is some work to be done in lift station number 4, but this is mainly programming and it's not revamping the entire lift station, just reprogramming and doing PLCs and
Yeah.
SCADA systems.
So I kind of knew part of that answer, but I was just wondering if there's down the road that we need this money again. If we had two that need to be done, maybe consolidate this cost here into one somehow. But if we only need one, that's great. Thank you.
And these lift stations are for sewage lift stations we're talking about, not fresh water there. This is for sewage lift stations on that. Okay. And is there a lift station in the north part of the city by Fifth Avenue and 5th Street? Is that a lift station? There's a lift station up there. So, okay. Call the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously. The thing on the motions, appointment of acting city clerk, Mr. Warren.
Yes, Your Worship. Currently, our city clerk's on a leave. For administrative purposes, we have to name an acting city clerk for signed documentation, making sure we do everything proper legally for us as a city. So what we're looking for from council is to appoint myself as city manager as the acting city clerk until our city clerk returns.
I have a motion, Your Worship, that Matthew Warren is hereby appointed as acting city clerk for the city of Weyburn as per subsection 85 bracketed 1 of the Cities Act, with duties and responsibilities as defined in subsection 85 bracketed 2 of the Cities Act during the absence of current city clerk Richter.
Second.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Discussion?
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. So just to be clear, this isn't that you will largely be performing the day-to-day functions of the city clerk, but rather this is a legislative requirement.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
More along the lines of the lieutenant governor, where you have to do the final sign, right? Because the city clerk has to sign the bylaws and that, so you're kind of a mini lieutenant governor.
Yes, Your Worship.
Yes. Just making sure that we kind of see how the clarity goes there. This is all in favor? Carries. Your Honor. We'll have the regal as you move about too. So, introduction. There's no bylaws. There's no unfinished business, and as we're looking at the last of the agenda, there is what is the last thing? Pardon me? Pardon me. Unfortunately, one part of my agenda is missing here.
There you go.
New business, we have rural water, if we would. New business is rural water. Go ahead, Mr. Warren. Or Mr. Kishta.
Weyburn Utility Board has requested approval to hook up one new residential water service. The owner have confirmed satisfactory sewage hauling arrangement as per our requirement. It is recommended the following request to be approved for residential water service for Peter and Crystal Manti, and a $10,000 connection fee does apply.
Your Worship, I have a motion that the application for access to the rural pipeline for the following rural applicant be approved, subject to the fulfilling the Weyburn Utility Board and the City of Weyburn residential water hookup requirements. That is for Peter and Crystal Manti. It is on the northwest of 34, 8 of 15, west of 2nd, Lot Q.
Your Worship, I'll second that motion.
Discussion? Couple questions there, Mr. Kishta. Roughly, how many people do we have on the rural connection? Do you know? About 380, 400?
Roughly, yes. Yeah.
Rough estimate. Who else was on the rural water stuff? Okay, it'd be about approximately 400 onto this. And again, we are, in the city, are guaranteed so many liters. Is it 3 liters an hour, a minute? And the rural is only about 1.5, I think, believe in half. They have a low pressure system that goes out to them. So, on it there. All in favor? Carried unanimously. We then move into announcements, inquiries and announcements about the fair. Do you have anything more?
I don't have anything about the fair. We have our meeting tomorrow night, Your Worship, for the Ag Society, and I know it's a full plate there because it's getting very close. One thing I would like to bring up, the environmental cleanup was on Saturday. I got rid of a whole bunch of paint and the odd battery and went down, and actually I asked, just for curiosity's sake, if it was well attended. Have no idea on the amount they brought in, but I think at the city workshop I was client number 118 or something, so it was fairly busy.
Mr. Mickle?
Just up that, Councillor Bailey, I was there at 245 and we're already at 160. Compared to last year was about 100, so very successful hazardous days, and we thank the people of Weyburn and surrounding area that participated in this.
Thanks, Your Worship. Mine neither an inquiry nor an announcement, but rather a big slap on the back for everybody in Weyburn last week for the Saskatchewan Oil and Gas Show that was here. Our mayor sits on that committee, also does Councillor Chessel. That is a monster show, and our community, including the buffet, was on display across Western Canada, and so we should be proud of that. Our city looked great, and we had great people in our community, so that was a very good event for us, and my hat's off to everybody who helped put that together.
Seeing that we are limited in our number of meetings coming up here fairly soon, I just want to make sure that you also know that in the agriculture side, July 31st is the Junior Hereford Association is coming in, and a week later the Junior Charlet Association is coming in to Weyburn for those that are interested in livestock. So those are some more the shows, and then somewhere along the line, Government Road will be recovered and repaved, and we will move on with that before winter sets in.
And Your Worship, I believe that's free to the public to come and see. They expect about 300 animals for the Hereford show and about 150 animals. The Hereford show, the facilities that we have there that are great, isn't enough to hold them. And they're putting up a big tent to do the rest of, to put them under roof. And so this is huge for our community. And so we, at the Agricultural Society, is promoting Weyburn big time because these things cost tremendously more money in the larger centers. So we welcome them with open arms. Good for the community.
Very good for the community. And I thought there is, there's no notice of motions, so at that point, I call a motion for adjournment and call the meeting adjourned.